Okay, got a break. It rained this morning, so I took the bike out, ran it pretty hard, got it good and hot. You know what that means. I'm about to do an oil change. All right, so this is an 08 Royal Star Venture. There's the oil fill plug. Now notice that it has a seal in there. I'm taking it off. Okay, got it up on the lift table. Got me an old bucket, old cat litter bucket. You use whatever you want. I've got some fancy buckets and I've got the old cat litter. I'm going to use it for now. All right, I'm on the right side of the bike, and these are Honda. I bought a long time ago. Filter removal tool. I've used it many a year. So I'm loosening this filter, and I guess it goes without saying, if you've done this long enough, you know the one thing is, do not over tighten them darn filters. I don't know how many times I have picked up bikes that have been over tightened, so I'm just going to loosen that filter up. I'm not taking it all the way off yet, but I've got it loose now, and that's how easy it should be. If it's any harder than that, then somebody's over tightened that darn filter. All right, now I'm going to switch over. I've got a 17 millimeter here, and that's what you need. I'm going to reach under here, and I'm going to grab this 17 millimeter, and this is lesson number 2. Do not over tighten these either. These aluminum, it's easy to over tighten these things and cause damage. Now, I'm looking at this. Right is tight, left is loose. Lefty loosey, is it? Righty tighty. So that means what? I gotta get some grip on this thing here, and let me pass this camera over here and see if I can't get a better grip. All right, so I'm gonna get under here with my 17 here, and I'm gonna break that. All right, let me get up here. All right. Here we go. There we go. And sometimes I find when it's over tightened, I actually tighten it a little tighter and then back it off, but to each his own. All right, now I know this oil is hot, so I use a glove, a special glove always, to reach under here. I don't want to be burnt by that oil. So, but you do want that oil hot. So, all right, there she comes. And I'm going to lay this out here and take this old glove off. It'll dry out, and I'll use it again. But lesson number 3, if you don't have it, go ahead and order you a bag of these washers. Now, these are all the same on these Japanese bikes, and they're interchangeable. I don't care what you got, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda, whatever. Now look at what it says, 14 millimeter inside, 22 outside, 2 mm thickness, aluminum type oil drain plug gaskets. So if you're gonna have a bike, go ahead and keep a set of these. Now I know there's people that talk about, oh, you can reuse these, but why chance it? These things will cost you pennies. So go ahead and replace that. Okay, so I put a new one on. The oil's out. Now I'm ready to go take that filter out. So I'm going to go back and finish removing that filter. I'm going to take my special glove. And I'm gonna get down here and get this filter out. Now, well, let's see. I can probably let me see how it's filling down under here now. Yeah, boy, it's warm up there. Definitely warm, as it should be. Back this filter out. All right, there we go. I'm gonna let that drain down. All right, stay there. And I'll take my old special purpose glove off. And I'll give that a minute. Now, you should know the routine by now. I'm basically going to put my bolt back in. I'm going to take my new filter. I'm going to oil that ring and put it back on. But let me remind you of something. When you take that old filter off, you make sure that rubber comes with it. Don't leave it in there. Sometimes those will pop out of it. And when you put your new one in, you make sure you have that rubber seal. And all that seal, some people even put oil in their filter before they put it on. Now before we get to that, and while that's draining, let's talk about oil. Nope, I'm not going to get into the debate about what type of oil to use. But I do highly recommend that you go to Walmart and buy you one of these. It's a little plastic, keep a top on it to keep the dirt out, get dirty on the outside. And notice I've measured here. I got 3.5 quarts. Now, the most of that is oil. However, and I'm not opening this for a debate, I do also put Marvel Mystery Oil. Now, Marvel says you can put up to 20% in your oil. I put this in gas, and I always put just a little bit in my oil. So I'll let you decide how much you want to put in. But I do put some in my Royal Star Venture. Now, you say, well, the book calls for more than 3.5. I'm suggesting you start at 3.5 and then check. If you've ever serviced these bikes, particularly if I could get up here and show you, if you've ever serviced your carbs and you've had to clean a bunch of gunk and oil and stuff off of it, it's probably because somebody's been overfilling with oil. And that's the worst thing you can do on these bikes. That oil is going to blow out somewhere. So don't overfill. Now, for those of you with a Royal Star Venture, you know you have a glass on these bikes. If I can get in there and show you, and let me get a camera, not a camera, a flashlight, so I can point it out to you. Okay, now you can see it's empty as it should be. Now I never want that over the top. I usually try to get that between that bottom notch and that top notch. And you can see the notches. So don't overfill these bikes. Don't over tighten these filters and such. Okay, so we're going to start out filling this. I'm not going to pour it all in at once. I'm going to stop and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to check this. So what I'm going to do now is go back over here. I put my new washer on. So I'm ready now to rethread this. And I know some of you probably won't let your bike sit overnight and drain, but if you change it regular like I do, and I do change mine regular, your bike's going to outlive you. So that's a 17 millimeter. All right, again, that's a crush, should crush that washer. Seal that. Do not over tighten these. All right. And I keep a stock of filters. And like I told you, you want to make sure that ring is still on that filter. Now I'm going to soak this up with a little oil here. And I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to put it on. Reach up in here, in this cavity, and I'm going to be putting that new filter on. Okay. I'm putting my filter on. Let me slide this out of the way a little bit. Alright, now, since that's greasy, let me get something here. I'm going to wipe this off some, clean it up. As I hand tighten it here. Alright, now, I hand tighten these, and then I'll do one click, and that's going to be it. I do not want these over tightened. So, all right, and it's in there. And I'm going to do one good turn. All right. Now, I've got that on. It's time to bring the oil over. And that's the beauty of having one of these, is it's ready to go. You've already measured out your oil, and you're ready to start filling it. So, there we go. Make sure this is clean. I don't want to put anything in there at all. All right, here we go. Now, this is a wet clutch system, so of course the oil is used for your clutch too. Okay, now let's pull this out for the sake of and the benefit of showing you again what I'm talking about. I'm sorry if I'm jerking around this camera a lot, but Okay, now let's look at this now. Look at there. It's already really between the bottom and the top. Now we've got to get oil in that filter, and that's going to be the difference. But you can already see, if you're looking, you don't want to overfill these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the bike and let it pump oil into the filter. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to check this again. And I'm going to make sure that it ends up where you see it now, no more than that. Okay? And that's an oil change on an 08 Royal Star Venture. But folks, this applies to any bike. Worst thing you can do is overfill them. You know, so be careful when you're changing your oil. Don't over tighten items. All right, hopefully this has been helpful. I'm gonna crank it, run it a bit, fill it up, close it off, and call it another job done. All right, enjoy.